Children are creative beings. Give a simple sheet of paper to a little boy and he will see endless possibilities. As you can see, Johnny is asking himself whether he should use that simple piece of paper to create a flying machine, become a paper football champion, annoy his sister, make a unique piece of artwork, or fold a beautiful bird that he can give to his mom for her birthday. Unfortunately, this creativity is normally lost over time. How many different ways can you think of to use this simple sheet of paper? Once Johnny grows up and reaches adulthood, the wide range of possibilities for that piece of paper become fewer and fewer. As Johnny grows up, his creativity is educated out of him, and the piece of paper is, well, it's a piece of paper. It's something to write on, and more paper just means more work. Who has time for paper airplanes, or paper football games, or origami birds? They certainly don't solve any real-world adult issues, and really they're just a distraction. Adult Johnny is likely to say to himself, rather than wasting my time with this single sheet of paper, I should focus on reducing the large pile of papers I have to sort through before my next deadline. Creative thinking fosters the outside-of-the-box mentality that organizations need to produce successful results. Frank Gehry uses the process of prototyping with crumpled up sheets of paper and corrugated cardboard as a starting point for his architectural projects. Each building will have between 30 to 50 models made out of inexpensive materials like paper, cardboard, plastic, and styrofoam. However, by starting with this, Gehry is able to create masterpieces like this. Each prototype allows Gehry to shape his ideas. He doesn't start with the final version, but rather creates one model and then another until a finished product emerges. Let's take a look at how adult Johnny was able to realistically generate revenue by thinking about paper from a unique point of view. Recently, Johnny's boss told him that he needs to determine how to create a new housing development that is cost-effective for the company. He's thinking about where to begin when he comes across a piece of paper and an idea hits him. Like Frank Gehry, he's going to build a paper model of the future community, which will allow him to make any corrections at little to no cost. This makes both Johnny and his boss very happy. Could he have done this if he only saw a piece of paper as something that has the potential to pile up on his desk? Theorist Graham Wallace presented one of the first models for the creative process, which includes the following phases: preparation, incubation, illumination, and verification. This creative process is nonlinear, as the four phases will overlap one another as different problems and ideas are explored. Be sure to investigate the problem or issue at hand during the preparation phase. Use this time to arm yourself with the appropriate data and information that is needed to be successful. In a survey conducted by the ExSEEDers, more than 75% of students attributed a new idea to success. However, research shows that good ideas rarely result from an aha moment. As Louis Pasteur put it, chance favors only the prepared mind. Deep knowledge is usually developed over several years and is followed by a period of incubation, during which the unconscious mind mulls over the issue. Gordon McKenzie states that management obsessed with productivity will have little patience for the downtime that is essential to creativity. However, this period of unconscious thought is vital to the creative process. Good ideas typically take a long time to incubate. During this phase, take a step back. Look at the problem from different angles, and exercise, as physical activity is positively associated with executive function. During this time, you are unconsciously thinking about the problem. The illumination phase is marked by the appearance of a conscious solution. The eureka moment often comes after sleep, because in sleep, rational thinking is turned off, and the unconscious has a greater freedom to explore ideas. The conscious mind returns later to make the logical argument. This is the moment when the data gathered during the preparation phase and the unconscious thinking used in the incubation phase will produce your winning idea. Finally, during the verification phase, you will reason out your idea in linear order for the purposes of elaboration and proof. This takes time. Begin by testing the validity of the idea. Is it a good option? Are goals achieved and values met? During the verification phase, your idea is molded and transformed into its exact form. So, How can you use this information to foster a creative work environment? Now you know a specific methodology to regain your creativity. The following steps will help bolster that creativity among your employees and colleagues. Have a climate that fosters creativity. Empower leadership among employees. Support coworkers. And resolve task conflicts. Managers who want to increase creative performance should make their organizations more open to risk-taking, more accepting of challenges to the status quo, and more open to progressive thinking and actions. Making decisions will inevitably lead to making mistakes. The trick is to learn from them. For example, Mikhail and Nicholas Heed, who run the Finnish game developer company Rovio, were on the verge of bankruptcy in 2009. It wasn't until the release of their 52nd game, Angry Birds, that their fate and success was sealed. An environment based on trust and self-direction lends itself to empowered employees who are autonomously motivated. These employees are higher performers, more effective at achieving goals, more satisfied, and happier because they are less defensive, more open-minded, and more willing to adopt new ways of thinking. Autonomous motivation is associated with cognitive flexibility, problem solving, and a more positive work attitude, all of which are conducive to creativity. People feel autonomous motivation when they find their work enjoyable, interesting, meaningful, or consistent with their personal values. Increasing your employees' identification with their work might be particularly valuable in helping organizations manage change, renovation, and reconstruction. Managers should encourage members of their work groups to be supportive of one another. Workforce support then fosters creative performance as individuals strive to create something together. These empowered coworkers provide their teams with creativity that is gained by the collective sharing of new work practices and ideas. With the sharing of this discretion comes the confidence in one another's abilities and the pervasive knowledge that I am strong because I am part of a strong group. As an employee experiences more growth and support from the group, a base is built from which this individual will feel motivated to expand his or her work base. Finally, minimize the destructive personal and task conflicts so that your company can enjoy the beneficial effects that are realized when coworkers help and support one another. Scholars predict that conflicts involving disagreements about work tasks are advantageous for creative performance. But relational conflict hurts work outcomes, including creativity, because it causes negative emotions and negative interpersonal behavior. Conflict has detrimental effects on trust and autonomy because it signals a strong lack of confidence in another person's capabilities and motives. Even task conflict calls into question another's decisions, reliability, and competency. In turn, people grant dramatically less autonomy to others. It's okay to fail. Seriously, without failure you will never come up with any original ideas. Creative solutions to life's problems are rooted in these original ideas that happen when someone is willing enough to fail to try something new. To summarize, in the first part of this three-part series, we explored inherent creativity and theories about why it is lost as we grow up. In Part 2, we transition to discussing that creativity and innovation are possessed by only a handful of leaders. 7 specific traits that these leaders employ are presented, and real-life examples are provided. Finally, in Part 3, we discussed the creative process, ways you can regain your creativity, and how you can apply this creativity to your work life to maximize success. Now that you have the tools necessary, ask yourself this: what would I have done with a single sheet of paper as a child, and what will I do with it today? Practice developing your creativity and watch your answers multiply. Ultimately, learning to effectively leverage creative decision-making will make you a successful leader.